night.
Wait, what show am I on?
Oh, this is still not suitable for adults.
Wait a second, but that didn't sound like our show.
It is our show. That's new theme music.
Whoa, I love it!
Yeah, we have some new theme music. We came across a gentleman in a podcasting Facebook group who is offering to either provide or create podcast music, like podcast intro music. We're like, yeah, because
yes, please.
we love our old theme song, but it was just a piece of royalty-free music we found on the internet, and this was made for us. We told him what we wanted, and he made it for us, and it's great, and we love it.
We hope you guys like it too. We really do like it.
And I'll tell you more about him at the end. He'll be sort of part of our housekeeping at the end, and we're going to put him in our show notes too. His name is Shad Worrell. And
Thanks, Shad.
And he's great. I'll tell you more about him later on. But this is not suitable for adults. I am Rich.
I'm Natalie.
And just because there's new music doesn't mean anything else has changed. We're still going to talk about kids shows and movies.
New year, new music, same us.
Yeah.
Sorry.
That's our mantra for the year. New year, same us.
Yes.
All right. But we are going to flip things a little bit this week. Natalie's actually going to, not only is Natalie going first this week, but
we're doing a little theme flippy floppy too.
Natalie's going to talk about something that's for a little bit older audiences. I'm going to talk about something for the little kids.
Yeah. So Rich usually does those shows and movies that are more for the more mature children. And
the discerning child.
Oh, and I usually do the preschool stuff. But today it just so happened that we had both decided to...
Flippy floppy.
Yeah, just separately we decided to do something completely different. Today I'm going to talk about a movie that is extremely critically acclaimed.
Everyone loves it.
Everyone loves this movie.
Except
me, you guys. I'm really sorry if you're a fan of Shrek, but I do not care for this movie.
All right.
And so many people really do. And and the thing is that I get it. The thing is that I understand why so many people love this movie. It's just that I don't enjoy it. First, I did not grow up with this movie. It was out it came out in 2001. So, I was still kind of in my preteen years at that time. But I was not allowed to watch this movie. For reasons we will talk about. And those of you that know Shrek and love Shrek will probably understand why I may not have been allowed to watch this movie with my younger brothers.
Yeah.
But so many people grew up loving this movie, and it was a staple part of their childhood. It's just that wasn't me. And then when I grew up and I could make my own decisions.
Watch whatever you want.
Watch whatever I want, because now I'm the boss.
Yeah.
I still didn't.
You still didn't want to.
Okay, so let me talk about it a little bit. If you don't know Shrek, here's some things.
You don't know Shrek.
Like I said, it came out in 2001. It is an American computer animated comedy film, and it is based on a fairy tale picture book of the same name, so it's called Shrek, by William Steig, S-T-E-I-G. Is that Steig or Steig? I'm not sure. I'm sorry, William.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Bill. That he wrote in 1990.
Okay. I didn't know that, actually.
Yes, it is. It is from a book, and actually the book is called Shrek! Exclamation point.
Oh, man. That gives it a... Shrek!
Yes, it's very Broadway!
Who's that ogre? It's Shrek!
So here we go. If you don't know Shrek, here's kind of a little synopsis. It takes place in this land of many, many fairy tales. So you will feel quite nostalgic as you're watching this movie because you will see the Three Little Pigs. You will see Pinocchio. You'll see Tinkerbell. You'll see so many different of these fairy tale characters all together in this one universe. So what's happening is that there is a prince or a lord, Lord Farquaad.
Which is good naming.
It's a good name.
Funny.
It's a funny name. Lord Farquaad wants to become king.
Who doesn't?
To become king, he has to marry a princess.
Of course.
I don't really understand that very much, but and he's also trying to clean up his land a little bit. He's trying to get rid of the fairy tale creatures.
Ugh.
So anything that that identifies as a fairy tale creature, he is like, they're rezoning them, basically. And they end up rezoning them in Shrek's swamp. Shrek is an ogre.
Yeah.
And he does not want people around. He's an ogre hermit. He does not like people to be in his space. And all these creatures end up being in his space. So, along the way, he meets the better part of the movie, who is Donkey.
Yes.
So, I should say, Shrek the ogre, Shrek, exclamation point, is voiced by Mike Myers.
Let's just really quickly say, like, in his prime.
Oh, man.
Mike Myers.
This was Mike Myers.
Yeah.
And also, Donkey was Eddie Murphy.
Also,
and he took that.
Pre-clumps.
The thing is that when you hear Eddie Murphy, you hear Donkey, I feel like.
Okay.
At least that is for me. A lot of, and again, like I said, I did not grow up with this movie, but still, everything that Eddie Murphy is, minus a lot of swearing and stuff like that, is put into Donkey.
Yeah.
And then Cameron Diaz plays Fiona, who is the princess that we meet a little bit later. And Lord Farquaad is John Lithgow.
John Lithgow. So good.
Yes. So, Lord Farquaad needs a princess. And he's looking around and he finds that there's this princess. I'm going to go into a little bit more detail later.
Okay.
He finds that there's this princess that is trapped in a tower that is guarded by a dragon. And he puts together this festival, this battle of champions for his knights to figure out who's going to go get Princess Fiona for him.
Because it ain't going to be him. He's little.
Yes, he is actually very short. And that is another just kind of, funny thing about
a running
the movie.
joke.
He's a very small man. Donkey and Shrek with Donkey in tow, goes to see Lord Farquaad about getting all of these creatures out of his swamp and comes upon this championship. Yeah. And ends up him and Donkey beating all of the knights because the knights try to take him because he's an ogre.
Yeah, who wouldn't?
Yeah. So Lord Farquaad says, here's the thing. You can go get Fiona for me, and then I'll get rid of the people in your swamp. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. Shrek says yes. He goes off. He and Donkey save Fiona from the tower, from the dragon, who turns out to be a girl dragon who falls in love with Donkey. And on the way back, it turns out that Fiona and Shrek end up kind of having feelings for each other. This, that, and the other. He ends up, stopping their marriage and professing his love, and Lord Farquaad is a Farquaad and tries to. That should be a bad word, I think.
I think that's kind of.
I know.
I think that's what they were going for.
I know. But Fiona's secret is that at night she turns into an ogre herself, and it can only be. She will only take on her true love form or something like that when she is kissed by her true love. Then at the end she kisses Shrek, and then she permanently turns into an ogre, and she's like, I'm disgusting, I'm terrible, and he's actually like, you're actually beautiful to me because we're both ogres. Guess what, we're both ogres.
Ogres.
Yes. So that was the quickest synopsis of Shrek.
Yeah.
Because I just wanted to get into a couple of little things about it. The budget for this movie was $60 million.
Okay.
What do you think the box office was?
It was pretty successful. But it was an animated movie. I'm gonna guess worldwide box office or domestic? I'm
just looking at box office.
Okay, I'm gonna guess 400,000, or no, 400 million is what I meant. $400 million.
You were so close.
Okay.
484.4 million.
I almost said 500 million. I was this close.
Well, that would have not worked for Price is Right rules.
Right, that's true. I would have gone over.
So it did very well.
Very successful.
Very successful, because what it did was kind of revolutionary. It took an animated movie that had a lot of fairy tale-esque qualities about it. A prince, a princess, somebody saving that princess, the guy and the girl falling in love, and then him rescuing her from the tower. And then, it was, all of that was extremely fairy tale.
Yeah.
And so extremely kid-friendly. But what they did was they also made it for the adults.
Yes.
And that was the reason why I was not allowed to watch this movie as a preteen.
This was sort of the movie. I mean, it's not like they invented that, because, I feel like as long as entertainment has existed, there's been like a struggle to like make the audience as broad as possible.
Right.
But I do feel like for the modern age of movies, and particularly like entertainment aimed at children, this was kind of a forerunner of how you might accomplish that.
And I think they just took it to a level that nobody else had taken it yet.
Yeah.
As far as, this is a kid's movie. It's rated PG.
Yeah.
This is a kid's family movie that has a lot of innuendo in it and a lot of more adult themes that the children will not get.
Right.
For their ages. So,
like the name Farquaad. So also they're interrogating a gingerbread man. I just gotta say, that's the best scene in the whole movie.
You like that?
I love that scene. Not gumdrop buttons.
I know.
It's so fun.
They're interrogating a gingerbread man to find out just some information, and the gingerbread man says, "Eat me."
Yeah.
That is, not...
It's rude.
It's rude. It's not typically something children would enjoy your child to say.
But it's also a funny joke, because he's a cookie.
Because he's a cookie. When he's choosing his princesses, he's talking to the mirror, mirror on the wall, and he says, "I need a princess," and it turns into almost like this dating show type thing. It's like, princess number 1 is, I think it's Cinderella, and they make a joke about her maybe losing her shoe, and she loves to do housework and stuff like that. And princess number 2, she is, and it's Sleeping Beauty, and then they say, she lives with 7 men, but she's not that easy. And then they go to Fiona, and they say, princess number 3 is Fiona. So there's just another thing. When Shrek and Donkey come up to the castle, it's an extremely large castle, and Shrek says that he looks down at Donkey and he says, maybe this Farquaad is compensating for something.
Yeah.
And then there's also sometimes where he says that he has to save his ASS. I don't know, like, what, because let's be careful, because we don't want Apple to make us explicit. But he's talking about the word that is used for donkey. Yeah. Like, that he needs to save his donkey, but he doesn't use the word for donkey.
Yeah.
And then there's also just a lot of vulgar things. There's farts and burps and earwax, and like he pulls the earwax out of his ear and makes a candle
out of his earwax.
And then like 2 seconds into the movie, he's already done all of those things.
Right.
Also, when I said, I was kind of in my preteens, and when this movie came out, it was my first real, the first time that I really learned about Smash Mouth.
Yeah, I was actually if you weren't gonna mention that, I was gonna say if this movie
Smash
did nothing
Mouth's
else, if this movie did nothing else, it was launched the career of Smash Mouth.
Yes, somebody once told me.
Yeah.
And then, I mean, I didn't even know what it meant, but I was going around singing, she was looking kind of dumb with her finger and her thumb.
It's a great song. That song totally holds up. It's
a really good song. It's a true jammer.
A jammer.
It was a jammer. So this was a movie that did a lot. It was a lot. As far as just what it accomplished.
Yeah.
So just a couple of little things, because I like my trivia.
Yeah, mm-hmm.
Nicolas Cage was initially offered the role of Shrek.
That would have worked.
But turned it down because he did not want to look like an ogre. Because, a lot of times they take the faces of the people and kind of make the animation look like the person.
So he didn't want a Nicolas Cage ogre out there.
And he did say in 2013, quote, "When you're drawn, in a way it says more about how children are going to see you than anything else, and so I care about that."
Yeah, something Nicolas Cage has done a really good job of is protect his career from becoming a caricature.
Right. Also, if you're going to talk to any child, they will know who Nicolas Cage is.
Obviously. Good grief, Nick Cage.
Yeah.
You messed up.
You messed up. Also, very interesting, Chris Farley was hired to be the voice of Shrek, and he had recorded nearly all of the dialogue and then died.
Oh, man.
Before completing the project.
I forgot about Chris Farley.
Yes. Actually, a story reel that had a sample of his recorded dialogue was leaked to the public in 2015.
Wow.
Yeah, he had almost completed all of the dialogue before he died, and then they had to start over.
I did not know that. That is fascinating, and I want to hear that.
Mm-hmm. Then DreamWorks, and I don't think I mentioned this. This is a DreamWorks movie. Sorry, had to get the kid a quick snack.
It's a DreamWorks movie.
Yes, it's a DreamWorks movie. So they then recast the role to Mike Myers, who he insisted on a complete script rewrite. Jeez. So that there was no trace of Farley's version of Shrek.
Okay, so if Chris added some jokes that were kind of down his alley, he didn't want to do Chris's jokes.
He didn't want to be the guy that did Chris Farley's Shrek.
Yeah, I think that's reasonable.
No, I get it. I understand it. And I'm sure that Chris Farley had his own, like you said, his own version of several things that Shrek did. Also, after Myers had completed providing the voice for the character and the film was well into production, he then asked to re-record all of it with the Scottish accent.
What? Come on, man.
But imagine Shrek
not
Scottish. Impossible. So he had done everything in his own accent.
Which would have made him sound like Wayne's World. He would have sounded like...
Probably, I mean...
Because Mike Myers just kind of has this normal voice. I feel like. You know? Like...
Yeah. So he decided to do the Scottish accent, and then many people have said that is probably what really saved the movie. Is not saved the movie, but elevated the movie. Is that Shrek had this amazing Scottish accent.
Oh my gosh.
Man, I'm loving how you're loving my trivia today.
I just think it's amazing because I was sitting. What it is that you buried the lead a little bit, like you kind of you hid it from me because I was like, okay, so he came in and then we had the Shrek we know, and nope, that's not true. We had a whole different.
No, you just had a Mike Myers,
an American Mike Myers Shrek.
Is Mike Myers American?
Canadian, I think.
Okay, sorry, she came in again and was talking to us, and now I've lost my place.
He's Canadian.
He's Canadian, yes. So he went back through and did the Scottish accent. Which
love that.
Was probably a ton of work.
Sure. He did. So there are basically 3 full versions of this movie. Yeah.
There's the Chris Farley, there's the regular Mike Myers, and then there's the Scottish Mike Myers. Out there in the world, there are those recordings. I didn't have much more than that, other than just the huge hit that it became. Sorry, I had something and then she came in and I missed what it was. So, most of the critics have crazy good reviews for this movie. They love the funny, they love the mixed with the animation, mixed with the fairy tale-esque of it. It's critically acclaimed, and people love this movie. It's also become a musical.
There's like 3 sequels or something.
Yeah, there's several sequels. It's become a musical. It's out there. And there are a lot of things in this movie that people have really taken, like ogres are like onions.
Yeah.
A lot of people love that particular saying because it speaks to them.
Yeah, for sure.
Because it's not just ogres, it's all of us. All of us are onions.
We're all onions.
We're all onions. Y'all. So anyway, that's pretty much Shrek from, again, like I said, I have rewatched this a couple of times as an adult, and it has very quirky, funny parts in it because Eddie Murphy can kill it in anything. Whoa, Natalie. That's not true. But Eddie Murphy kills it as Donkey.
Yeah.
And he just brings a life and a light to this movie that I think would be sorely missing if he wasn't in it.
For sure.
But
you just don't love the movie.
I just don't love the movie. It's not my favorite family animated movie. It's not one that I get particularly jazzed about seeing.
Okay.
So, but
the soundtrack slaps.
The soundtrack is fantastic.
Yeah.
It's a really hardcore, very good soundtrack.
Now I feel like I need to watch it again.
Yeah. I mean, the one thing that is interesting is that I noticed about the soundtrack is that they use the song, and I'm sorry, I'm not going to be able to know the artist or the title of the song, but I don't give a about the reputation, you know.
Right, yeah.
But they're saying the word
Yeah.
in that song, which I think is, for an animated show,
Sure.
you don't necessarily always want your kid running around singing the D word, but it's a really good song.
It's a great song. It's such a good song.
I love all the songs. Yeah.
Cool. Yeah, I'm gonna have to watch it again. I think for me, like, listening to it, I agree. It's not one that I go back to and like crave to watch like I do other animated movies. But I also think part of that is because I got fatigued with Shrek from all the extra stuff that followed. And also, I think maybe people don't go back. I'm trying to think if this is true for me or not. I don't think about it because Mike Myers isn't
Now.
he's not in the, because he messed up so bad with like the last Austin Powers and with Love Guru.
Yeah.
And then he just like was, oops, I guess my funny isn't everyone's funny, and he just disappeared.
Well,
so like I don't remember Shrek.
And that's pretty Eddie Murphy as well.
Yeah.
They both were kind of in their heyday at the time, and
that's true. Like, because there was like, for Mike Myers it was Love Guru, and for Eddie Murphy it was The Clumps.
Oh, I was thinking Haunted Mansion.
Oh, you think that's what put like the nail in the coffin for?
That's one of the last things I kind of remember him doing.
I think he just kind of didn't. I think that just kind of didn't do it for him. I think what really messed him up was all the I'm going to play every character movies.
Now listen, I thoroughly enjoyed Daddy Daycare.
Oh yeah, that's a good movie.
That's a good movie. I have to say, it's not 100% Eddie Murphy that I love in that one.
Well,
it's that Steve Zahn is in it.
And yeah, Steve Zahn's also great.
Always down. I'm always loving some Steve Zahn.
All right.
Yeah.
But Shrek.
Yes, sorry.
Shrek!
Shrek! Exclamation point. We kind of went down a little bit of a rabbit trail there, but Shrek. Anyway, there it is.
It's a movie.
It's a movie.
People usually
Some people
like
it. Most people absolutely adore it.
Yeah. All right. Mm-hmm. Let's take a break. What do you say?
I love it.
Where should we stop?
I don't know. I'm not driving.
Here's a
no,
okay.
Actually, I usually am driving.
Yeah, that's true. You do. Yeah, we're usually road tripping in your car.
Yeah.
Hey, look, Promoville. Let's stop there.
I'll stop there. Okay, Cora's yelling about snacks, so we need to stop at Promoville and get her some snacks.
And we're back. It was a good stop. They had everything we wanted in the combination convenience store and gift shop.
You ever walk into some of those travel stops and go like, "Oh my goodness, this is beautiful."
Sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I love those.
All right, everyone.
Okay, so
let's get serious for a second.
We're reminding you that I took the older kid route, which is kind of out of my wheelhouse. And so Rich took something out of his wheelhouse and went for a preschool thing.
And also this week it's two downers. It's two ones that we're not big fans of. Okay,
I have to reiterate. I just don't care for Shrek as much.
I know, you're not saying it's bad.
It's not bad.
It's just not for you.
It's just not particularly for me.
What I'm talking about this week, I think I've learned that my thing this week is for no one.
It is.
No one wants it.
There's not much to it.
Hey everyone, have you seen the show Caillou?
All the stay-at-home parents out there are going,
there's a good chance that if you've had a preschool age child sometime in between the years of 1997 to now, you've learned about Caillou. I only recently learned about Caillou, but that's because I just only recently have had a kid in this age range. Mm-hmm. But it is weird how all of a sudden she's been watching a lot of Caillou. Yeah. And I think it snuck up on me as soon as I was like, what is this? Oh, Caillou? And Natalie was like, yes, get it out of my brain. And I was like, what's wrong with it? And so I sat and watched for a while, and it only takes a little bit.
It doesn't take long.
It doesn't take a long time to understand what the problem is with Caillou. It is Caillou. That's what's wrong with Caillou.
Yes. First, I want you to spell his name.
It is spelled Caillou. It's a French word, which means stone or pebble.
Okay, at first I thought you said it's a French word that means stoner.
Stoner pebble.
I was like, okay.
Stone.
So you need to be a little bit stoned to watch this show.
Stone or pebble.
Okay.
It is a show that was based on a book as well. The original
Caillou! Exclamation point.
Caillou! I did jazz hands. You couldn't see it.
Yeah.
But it is based on a book called Caillou by Hélène Desputeaux, who is, I think, either French or French-Canadian. If I remember correctly, yeah, this is a Canadian. This show is born from Canada. Came from Canada. And made its way down
south,
across the border into the U.S. of A. And it lived here for 20 years. An interesting thing about Caillou is sort of I'm not gonna do like the full journey, because truthfully, in looking up about this show, it seems like no one loves it. And that may not be true. Hey, listen, if you might be one of these kids. It's conceivable that there's a 22 or 23-year-old person out there listening to our show going, wait, what? I love Caillou. That's my childhood you're talking about. And if that's the case, I'm really sorry. But like, so this kid, well, let me talk about this. So when the show started, it was, and it remained an educational show. But that meant that the first 3 seasons had segments of the Caillou, like, sort of animation. And the animation is, like, very basic characters in front of, like, almost like a watercolor painting.
It's not, for me, it is not fun to watch.
It's very basic.
It's not interesting to see.
Yeah, I agree. It literally looks like you're looking at sort of a half-finished watercolor painting, with characters moving around in front of it. And so, but it was that, and there were puppets. There were like segments with puppets, and there were segments with real kids in the real world doing like stuff related to Caillou, to whatever the theme of the episode was.
Oh, so it was very PBS-like.
It began very PBS-like. It was super reminiscent of like Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, and now Daniel Tiger's Neighborhood. Yeah. Where they'll cut to kids in the real world, to neighbors in the real world. But that's things. The
only way it relates to Daniel Tiger.
Right. Well, and it lived on PBS for a long, long time. So the thing that people don't like about this show is Caillou. It's that I don't want to lay it at the feet of the young actress who portrays Caillou, because you do what you're like told to do as an actor, as a voice actor.
I'm sure she's also just someone that's young.
Yeah. But it's just such a whiny character. Yeah. It's hard to listen to. And to your point, depending on the version you're looking at, it's kind of hard to watch. And kind of going back to what, to the episodes we did about, Teletubbies and the Teletubby related shows, is that because it's aimed at such young children, it's intended for children under 4. So because it's for such young children, there's nothing in it for a grown-up to like glean out. Right. To hold your attention while you're sitting there letting your kid watch it.
I actually find that even for a preschool aged TV show, it is just not visually stimulating.
Yeah. Most of what it does is very explicit. Like no, excuse me, that's not what I mean. I mean, what I mean by explicit.
I was going like, wait, are we talking about the same Caillou here?
What I mean by explicit is it's overt. It's like they tell you exactly what the thing is.
Oh, gotcha.
And so like it's clear what the theme of the episode is, and the narrator is also telling you what the thing is. So there's
not much to be, you're not learning along the way, I guess. Like it's not using thinking skills very much.
It doesn't feel like it does. And again, people learn in different ways. So it's entirely possible, again, that there's people out there who
Sure.
this was the thing that helped with some basic like sharing and how you treat people and those sorts of lessons. And it teaches all those lessons the same as any kid show.
Right.
The same as any educational kid show. The big news about Caillou is that it has been formally there haven't been new episodes of Caillou since 2010. It started in 1997. At some point after that, it got picked up by PBS, and it ran until 2010. But now it's leaving syndication, so it's no longer going to be on PBS.
Peace out, Caillou.
And it was really funny. We were talking about this earlier. I was like, "Oh yeah, I've got to do Caillou," and so I was looking up some things. And the first article. By
the way, we were sitting at my brother and sister-in-law's house as we were saying, like, "Oh, we got to go home and do the recording," and Rich said, "Yeah, I'm going to do Caillou." And what did Catherine say?
Just like it was. Just,
She's
I
like,
think it was just a groan.
I hate Caillou.
I got a real groan. So I was looking through, trying to find some information about just what's been going on, and all of the articles read pretty much the same way in the headlines. It was all like, Caillou, a children's show, cancel or leaving PBS after 20 plus years. Parents everywhere rejoice. And it makes me feel bad for this show because, like, on the one hand, I'm like, okay, well, good. If no one likes it, it shouldn't be on TV. I mean, that's just, that's the way the market works. Like, it shouldn't be there. It should make room for stuff people like and want to watch. Especially on a station like PBS. Like, if your main thing is getting donations, then you need to offer things people want.
When I think of Caillou, I think of flat. Yeah. I think of kind of like a flat kind of boring kind of just not something to keep attention really. And what's odd is lately it has been keeping Cora's attention.
Right.
As much attention as a 4-year-old can give something. But she has every now and again been asking to see if we will search for it on like YouTube Kids and stuff like that, which has interested me because she's usually not prone to really sit and watch those types of television shows. So it's a curiosity to me.
And it may be that there's not another character that looks like Caillou. Like, and I mean, that makes it sound like he's super unique, and that's not really what I mean. It's just that because of sort of the flatness that you're talking about, most of what she sees is very stylized. So, like, he looks very different.
Yeah, that's true.
From a lot of modern animated stuff. But, so what I was going to say, though, is the other interesting thing about Caillou to me is that if it's so difficult to get through, like, it's been around for 23 years, which is, I don't know. I guess I'm surprised if it's so universally disliked that it's taken this long to get it off,
to get it gone,
to get it gone because it ran for 13 years and then it stayed in the lineup for 10 more years. So, I mean, I don't know.
I mean, obviously, it just must be one of those things that's actually literally not suitable for adults.
Well, and let's say this. So, let's say a kind word. I'm going to say a kind word about Caillou. We talk a lot. Well, not a lot, but we have talked several times about, like, sort of the lack of good educational programming in the 90s. And I think part of the thing is, at the time, this filled a need.
Oh, yeah.
There wasn't
much.
There wasn't much. Like, there was basically Barney.
Yeah.
You know?
Man, we haven't done Barney.
Yeah.
I need to do a deep dive on Barney, y'all. I'm getting excited.
But that's really for this age range. There was that. I mean, there was Sesame Street.
Yeah.
Which is also an old property. Barney's a pretty old property.
Yeah.
There wasn't anything kind of new in this segment. And the 90s was all about these just sort of nonsense cartoons, which had their place.
Nonsense cartoons, and then when you're talking about those two particular things like Barney and Sesame Street, more puppetry type things.
Yeah.
Not a
lot of animation.
Educational animation. And
it's educational, it's animational. No? I think that tagline I just made up would have killed in the 90s. They would have loved it. I'm sorry, I interrupted. Continue.
No, I'm done.
Anyway, I think if there's a kind word to say about Caillou, it's that I think it filled a need at the time, and it's just that it's been so outpaced by everything else that's come after it.
It didn't really evolve much.
Right. Mm-hmm.
It's what it needed to be at the time, and then stayed like that.
It's still what we needed in 1997.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Well, there's Caillou. I guess part of that is just sort of a new. I think it just got announced like within the last week that it's not going to be on PBS anymore. Mm-hmm. And so that's basically breaking news you just got from Not Suitable for Adults.
You're welcome.
And that's why you're here, right? The hard hitting.
Because you're here for today's news.
Yeah.
There's not any other news that's going on in the world that we really want to talk about. I think
we can all agree. This is the main thing that's happening.
No, I mean, like, there's literally nothing I want to talk about.
Oh, I see. I see. Yeah. So, yeah, that's Caillou. If you love it, that's wonderful. It seems to not be for most people. Yeah. Most people are pretty happy to hear they're not going to run across Caillou.
This is a very diverse episode that we just talked about. Shrek and Caillou, I feel like, are on two very opposite
sides of the world from each other. You did make me want to go watch Shrek again, so I'm probably going to do that.
Yeah. You can talk about it again and
do
give us
a recap.
Yeah, you should. I mean, because you may have been... I'm not sure what your growing up with Shrek was, but I did it. So watching it now does not bring back some sort of nostalgia for me. It's just another animated movie that's just okay to me, really.
Right. Yeah, for sure.
So I would be interested to hear from somebody that goes back with fresh eyes.
And hey, if you're listening and you want to let us know like how you feel about Shrek, get at us.
Yeah. Get in the comments.
Get in the comments. And by that I mean this has been another episode of Not Suitable for Adults.
And by that I mean let's do the outro.
And by that I mean, a great place to tell us your feelings is like in the review section of a podcatcher, or on Twitter. You can find us at Not For Adults Cast. We've been asking a lot lately, and please keep doing this. Just share us with someone that you know. Someone who's someone who's just into cartoons, or someone who maybe has some nostalgia about cartoons or has kids.
Or maybe somebody that's fixing to have kids and needs to know what to avoid or what to watch.
Or someone who for sure loves Caillou. Like, we want to talk to those people.
Yeah.
I do want to say thank you again to Shad Worrell for the creation of our theme music. Mm-hmm. You can find him on SoundCloud at soundcloud.com/Shad-Worrell.
Should you spell his name, please?
ShadWarrell. Shad Worrell.
Thanks, Shad. We really, really do very much enjoy our intro and outro music, and we will be plugging him as much as we can.
Yeah, basically for the rest of time, as long as we use this music, we will continue to say, go check him out.
Thanks, Shad.
So, man, 2021, huh?
I read this meme that was like, I got my 7-day subscription of 2021 and I'm ready to cancel. I do want to say we love all of you.
Yes.
And
yes.
And I think we felt like shedding off 2020 was going to bring back some rejuvenation and some hope, and so far this just this half of January has not been awesome.
No, but I think it's just that, sometimes, how sometimes you have a jacket on and it's just really tight, especially like around the sleeves. And so like you're taking it off and it just kind of gets stuck. You know how it gets stuck?
Wow, this metaphor. Okay, keep going.
You know how it gets stuck on your hands?
Yeah.
And then it takes a while and like people are looking at you like, hey, we've already taken our jackets off and we're sitting down. And you're like, I know, but I can't get. And finally it comes off. I think January is going to be the stuck on our wrists portion of getting the metaphorical jacket that is 2020 off, and then from then on we can sit down and enjoy a peaceful meal.
Oh my stars, that was something that just happened out of your mouth right there.
I know, I think it was good.
Yeah, I mean, that's going. The thing is, babe. Listen,
yeah, babe.
That's going to speak to someone out there.
Yeah, someone just went, yes, thank you.
Thank you, Rich. It's the jacket metaphor. That's what I've been looking for.
All right. Well, hey, listen, go out there. Try, man, it's so hard, but try to like live some positivity out into the world.
Be positive, be kind, stay safe. And as soon as you guys are able to, go grab you some vaccine,
yeah, get vaccinated and also continue to wear a mask for now.
Yeah.
And don't forget you're the boss.
So watch whatever you want.
All right, bye.
Bye.